All right, it's Mixmaster B here live from the MMB Radio studios for the MMB Radio Podcast, where no topic is too big or too small. We talk about them all. And on the phone lines, I want to welcome in one of the newest and uprising adult film stars, Miss Callie Klein. How are you, Callie?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing awesome. I thank you for taking some time to talk to us today. And I said you're up and coming because you haven't been in the business very long, have you?
No, I haven't. I've only been in for 3 months now.
3 months. So 3 months in the business. Wow, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to jump into tonight and a lot of things that you may have already experienced in 3 months and stuff that you are still going to be witnessing in 3 months down the line. So I guess what we want to do is take it back to day one. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay, so living in Arizona, and it's hot in Arizona, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. It gets to like 120 in the summer, which is basically you're going to die. So you stay inside.
Which basically you're going to die. So how do you get out of being in the heat? You go ahead and you jump into porn. So kind of take us through that. I mean, like, how did coming about doing porn start?
Well, I kind of grew up around it since my dad owns a gay porn company. He's gay as well. So, you know, I was really open sexually, and I just started cam modeling just as a fun thing to do since I didn't have much to do on the weekends when I was in college. Well, I'm in college. And next thing I know, like, I just had agents contact me and be like, you know, you can make a lot of money fucking on camera. And I'm like, well, I like to have sex. So this sounds like a good idea.
So I got to go back a little bit now. Your father, you said your father is gay. So
yeah.
kind of take me through that process. Like, have you known your whole entire life that he was, or at what point did you realize that he was, or did he tell you? And
my dad's been gay his whole life. He just, you know, he denied it. That's how I was born. And that's the reason why my parents divorced, because he came out. I didn't know what gay was, even though he told me, until I was about, like, 8 years old. I didn't understand the concept of sexuality. So him saying, I'm gay, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm gay then, too. I don't know. So, you know, I just kind of found out after that, and my dad's like my best friend, so I've never really had a problem with it.
So you were raised pretty much by your father, or did you have some, like, house?
Yeah. My dad definitely raised me, and so did my grandparents. I lived with them since I went to college high school in Mesa, when my dad lived in Phoenix. So it'd be dad on the weekend, grandparents weekday.
So growing up, I mean, right away, people are listening and are probably thinking, okay, here we go, stereotypical, you know, gay father, which led her to be, you know, overly, you know, sexual and wanted to get into porn. And, like, is this like a stereotypical story here? Or, like, when did you realize that you had, like, this desire for doing camming?
I never really thought I was going to have a desire. It just, one day someone told me about doing it, and I just was like, okay. You know, it wasn't like something that I thought that my sexuality was meant for. I just was kind of bored and had nothing else to do.
But, I mean, when you stop, and I don't mean to laugh, but it's kind of funny when you stop and you think about it. It's like, I was bored and there was nothing else to do, so I'm just going to take my clothes off in front of strangers that I can't even see. People are just, you know, looking at me on the web. Were you comfortable? Like, were you always like the type that was, like, very just comfortable with just doing random things like that?
No. Growing up, I was a nerd, and I was self-conscious and definitely not confident whatsoever. So, you know, like in college, my freshman year, I just was really wild because, you know, I moved out of the house and I had all this freedom, so I was doing as much as I could to get as much freedom. And cam modeling opened that door.
So was it more like a rebellion thing, then...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, totally. I would definitely say porn is definitely a rebellion as well.
So what were you rebelling against? I mean, it seemed like you had a pretty open relationship with your father who had his own business where porn was all around. So, like, what were you rebelling against?
My grandparents, and my religion. My grandparents are Jehovah's Witnesses, and I was raised into that. And to rebel against them, I became Mormon. So then I became even more sexually confined. And, you know, I was always told by my grandparents being a sexual woman is a bad thing, and that men don't want that. And so when I moved out of the house and I heard about cam modeling, it was like a way to try and explore the sexual side that I never really knew I had.
Now, what was your dad's reaction when you told him, hey, this is what I've been doing? I'm assuming he was probably okay and supportive of it, or was he a little shocked?
He was both. Mm-hmm. He was shocked that I would do something like that because, again, I was a good girl. But he was just, he's always been like, you know, hon, this is your life. You can do whatever you want. As long as you know the consequences, you get to do what you want. So he supported me. He still is supporting me. He doesn't necessarily agree with my decision. He understands I'm an adult. So. Mm-hmm.
Now, how can he not agree with what you're doing? Well, I mean, I guess I can understand it from both point of views, but I mean, this has come from someone who owns his own porn business, and he doesn't agree with what you're doing.
Oh yeah, see, that's what's hard for him because he has two sides. He does the same thing, and so he supports me in that thing. But at the end of the day, I'm his little girl. I'm his only daughter, so I'm his only kid. So you have to put that into the equation. He just, even if I wasn't doing porn, he wouldn't be okay with me having sex with people. So
now, when you were growing up and being a teenager, did you have a lot of sexual partners? Were you like flirtatious or?
I was really flirtatious, and I didn't start having sex until not even a year ago. It hasn't been a full year. But I've been sucking dick for a really long time, so a lot of people knew I was a dick sucker. So what caused you to wait so long to finally go ahead and do the full-blown sex? I had a stupid idea that sex was meant for someone you love. So I waited until I was in love.
It's not a completely stupid idea. I mean, you know, it holds some weight, but, you know, not to discourage anybody out there from doing porn. But so you were hoping that you were going to find the right guy and, you know, love him forever?
Yeah, I definitely thought that was going to happen, and that's not how it turned out. And so after that, I kind of became, anti-relationship, no romance, and just been like, okay, I don't really need to know your name. Just go lay down, take your clothes off, and we can get this done and get out of my house.
Okay.
Cool?
So
that's me now.
So who was the first guy that you, I mean, over a year ago, not even a year now, who was the first guy that you ever had sex with?
His name was Brandon, and we were in ROTC together, and we had been dating for not that long, but I was pretty sure I was in love with him, and he was a virgin too, so we had sex, and it was horrible. It's the worst sex I've ever had in my life, and it has nothing to do with an experience. He just didn't know what he was doing at all.
And I apologize, Brandon, if you're listening to the podcast, you know, that we had to put you on blast, but...
Yeah, I'm putting his ass on blast. No, I mean, he planked on top of me.
Uh-huh.
And if you know what planking is, it's pretty it's interesting because you're just completely straight, and he was using his feet to move inside me.
So Brandon didn't spark any kind of interest to want to do it anymore, or did you feel like after that, like, I got to do this again with somebody who knows what they're doing, or because that was just horrible?
Oh my gosh. I tried one other guy right after him, and he was just awful too. His name's Kyle, and he was awful.
Sorry,
awful.
Kyle.
And so 2 bad experiences made me be like, okay, you need to just not have sex.
Now, at this
So I
time,
didn't have sex for
were you thinking that maybe I should, I'm lesbian, maybe I shouldn't be with guys, or like, take us through your thought process. Were you really thinking, what the hell am I doing wrong? Or did you ever think maybe it was that you were doing something wrong? Or
I mean, I got raving reviews from both of the guys, and I've always been told I knew what I was doing. So I knew it wasn't me. I wasn't very cute at the time, so I knew I wasn't able to attract pretty attractive guys. So I had to go with the nerds. And
so you were fucking the nerds then?
Yeah, I've been fucking nerds.
Okay.
I've always fucked nerds. I'm a nerd myself, but like I was only having sex with guys in the ROTC. And so I was like, you know what, I need to just not have sex. And I didn't have it for 6 months, and I actually had it with like a guy in the Army on May. That's why I said it's been like a year since I didn't really count those 2 periods. And he's great. We're really good friends, and sex is great.
So before you met up with this third guy, and were you doing camming in between, or was it after you had sex with him that you started doing camming?
It was months later after I started camming. Me and him, it was over a year ago. Not even a year ago. It was like halfway through May. And so I didn't start camming until November. So it was,
wow.
It was a space. I just was having sex with so many people.
So this thing just kind of just snowballed really quickly.
It did. Once I had sex with the Army guy, I didn't want to stop. So I was having sex with guys. Like, I had several guys in 1 week. And then I made sure to have sex on my birthday when I turned 18.
You got to celebrate your own birthday somehow, you know?
Well, yeah, I was becoming an adult, and, I was kind of a jailbait. I was 17, and I was sleeping with guys that were 20 and older, because I like older guys. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what, I need to be legal about this and just fuck a guy on my birthday.
Now, all these guys that you said you were fucking during the week or whatever, after meeting, G.I. Joe here, were these guys that were in the Army, or were these also fellow nerds, or did you kind of say after the second nerd, Kyle, that you were like, I'm not fucking nerds no more?
I still fucked a few guys. Like, I took their virginities, and I've had sex with guys that were in ROTC. Like, recently I had sex with someone that I went to high school with, and I never thought I was going to do that.
Now, did you think you had sex with him just because he knew what you were doing now? Or did or you didn't even fucking care at that point? You were just like, oh, well, fuck it, I'm getting mine?
I fully knew that he only had sex with me because I do porn, but I've had a crush on him since I was 13, so I didn't give a fuck. I was just like, sorry, but I'm gonna fuck you. But he came too quickly, so it was kind of embarrassing.
So kind of take me through this week. You start on the Sunday, and what did you just like? Every day was like a different guy, and how did that happen? Did like guys just know that you were easy? Did you were you forming a rep at this time, or like?
I think both. I also, when I want someone, I'm very direct about it. I'll tell you I want you and that I want to suck your dick. I don't take no for an answer. So.
Now, see, all the nerd girls I knew in school were not that very forward as you are. And you're a unique nerd.
I would say, yeah, I'm pretty confusing apparently to people. I don't know why.
So you started hooking up with all these random guys and everything, and then did you worry that people are going to start labeling you, like, oh, she's a hoe, she just fucks anybody, and like, or I'm assuming these guys were just as horny and hoes themselves, and they were just throwing themselves at you.
Well, yeah, in the beginning they all threw themselves at me, but I have this tendency to be a bitch to guys after I sleep with them, because they get really like clingy, and I just wanted to have like, I had a really bad breakup, so I just wanted to fuck. I didn't really want to date, so I would kind of be a dick to them, and then they would talk shit and be like, oh, she's such a whore. She'll fuck everyone. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a whore. Yeah, I'll fuck everyone. So take your pants off and I'll fuck you. Like, I don't know why you're trying to hurt me with this, because it's not hurting me. It's just giving you more guys to fuck.
As someone who was older, been there, did that, been through all of those stages, that's not uncommon for guys to react that way. But it's interesting that you say that. Like, so that's all it really takes. Like, I could just meet you somewhere and just be like, oh, you're a fucking whore. I can't stand you. And then all I got to do is take my pants down. That's awesome. Like, I'm totally down for that.
Yeah. I know. It's really funny because, like, I'm so sexually forward. And you can ask, like, anyone I went to school with growing up, they would have been like, nah, she would have never done shit like that. She's a good girl. She doesn't do bad shit.
Now, do you keep in touch with any of these people that you knew back in high school?
Oh, yeah. Totally. I didn't keep in contact with them after I got out because I graduated early. So I was like, fuck all of you. I'm out of here. And when I got into porn and everyone started finding out on Pornhub, then I became popular. And people try and talk to me, like, every day. And I'm like, I know you only like me because I do porn.
Now, did you have friends that were your friend, and then when they found out you started to do this, like, did not want to be your friend anymore?
Oh, yeah, I had that a lot, actually. I had best friends that I've been best friends with since I was a baby, basically, and she totally disowned me.
Really? And did she give a reasoning for it? Like, I mean, obviously because you
She's
were doing
a Mormon.
porn. Okay, she's a Mormon.
Yeah, that's
No.
the only way to just answer it as quick as possible.
No, I don't fully, like, I'm not a Mormon, so I don't follow it all that. But what's the would do Mormons care whether or not you do porn or not? Is it, like, shunned against? And
It's shunned because they don't believe in pornography, and they also don't believe in premarital sex or sex outside the marriage.
That's almost like any religion, though, right? So
yeah, they're just really anti-porn. Like, they really hate porn.
Mm-hmm. And you're okay with being a Mormon yourself, knowing this?
Yeah. I think people get really lost on the concept of religion. You can have any religion you want, but as long as you have faith, all religions are basically the same. You just got to have a connection with God or your higher power. And when I go to church, I have a really good connection with God. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters to me.
It feels like that episode of Family Guy where Peter was, like, worshiping the Fonz in the house of Fonz. You ever see that episode?
Yes, I love that.
It's kind of how it is. And then you have all these other religions that mimic it. You know what I mean? You have the George Jefferson one, and then he had, you know, like, everything after that. So really the religion aspect of it really never hindered whether or not you were going to continue to do this. Like, you made your mind up that this is what I'm going to do, and I really didn't care if people, had an opinion on it.
Definitely. I've lived, like, my whole life basing it off of what other people want. And, I've just gotten to this, like, period in my life where I'm going to do whatever I want because it makes me happy. I like having sex with guys, especially guys with really big dicks. So I'm going to be open about that.
So you started doing your first scenes. Kind of take us through the first scene that you ever did. Kind of tell us what your emotions were going through that.
Well, it was a gangbang, so I was pretty scared.
So you just jumped right into it and was like, all right, if I'm going to do this, I'm doing it with a bunch of dudes?
Yes, that was exactly my mindset. I was like, well, I need to know if I can do porn, so I'm just going to have sex with these 7 dudes, and if I can get through it, then I can do porn.
Okay. So 7 guys, and they all took their turns on you, and what were you thinking? Were you nervous at all?
I was nervous 100% because I had sex with, like, people, but I had sex with them repeatedly. I'd only had sex with, like, 11 guys at the time, and so this was basically going to double my number. And I never did anything on camera besides solo stuff, so I was shaking. I was like, oh, my gosh. But the guys were really great. They weren't real porn stars. They're just, like, average dudes. And so it wasn't like I was doing any, like, porn things. I was just having sex, and so I had fun.
So, what are your favorite types of scenes to shoot? I mean, you've only been doing it for 3 months, so like, how many scenes could you shot in 3 months?
I've almost shot like 20 now. And I guess my favorite thing to shoot would probably be like more of the rougher stuff.
Okay. And when you say rougher, what do you mean by like rougher stuff? Like, do you enjoy the hair pulling and the gag balls, and like, are you more of like a dominatrix, or are you just like?
I definitely like to be like controlled. So I had this scene with James Dean, and he like choked me, and he slapped me, and he grabbed my hair, threw me around, like he shook me against the wall, face fucked me. Like, that's really hot to me.
Now, was that something that you were doing in your personal life, or was that something you were just like fantasizing about and now get to do?
I fantasized it since I was like 13 to be controlled, but I started doing it when I turned 18 because there's a huge BDSM community out in Tempe. So, you know, I participated in that. It increased when I did cam modeling, and now I get to really live and have like really cool stuff with kink, and it's awesome.
Now, what is you just said you did this scene with James Dean, and we were going to have you on the podcast like a week ago, and you said he roughed you up pretty good though, but you enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, he did rough me up pretty fucking good. Like, I couldn't talk. He fucked my throat so much, but that was because I insisted on him just fucking my throat for more than. He fucked my throat more than he fucked my pussy. Mm-hmm. But I wanted that. Because I like it when a guy just really controls me when I suck his dick. Mm-hmm. So.
Now, what is something that you will not do? Do you have limits?
I came into the industry having limits, and now that I'm in it, I'm like, nah, I don't really got any.
So you're pretty much down for whatever.
Oh, yeah, totally.
What is something that you still want to do that you haven't done yet? I mean, I keep referring to you only being in the business for 3 months, so there's probably a lot you still haven't done yet, but what's like something on your bucket list that you're like, I got to do this really soon?
Interracial, anal, and PP.
Okay. Now, you say interracial, like, have you ever done interracial prior to that, or is this going to be like your first time on film?
That'll be my first time. I've never had sex with a black man. But I've wanted to forever.
Okay, what was the attraction to having sex with a black guy?
I can't explain that. I've just always thought, like, a black man is just sexy, and I can't explain it. Like, whenever I see one, I'm just like, oh my God, like, please just fuck me. So, like, I've never, like, gone up to them or do any of that because I'm so shy. Because, like, that's, like, what I really like in guys.
Okay, so you went on to say that you also wanted to do DP. I'm assuming you've probably done anal in your personal life, or?
Oh yeah, I love anal.
Okay. How am I not shocked by that? I feel like I could throw any scenario at you, and you're gonna be like, I love that.
I know, I'm such a whore.
So you want to do DP, and these are things that you want to start doing soon. Do you have a preference on who you would like to work with? Do you have like favorites in the business?
You know, I have some people that I really like working with. Like, I like working with Ray Dark from Amateur Alert. He's such a good person. I like to work with Penny Pax. Me and her, we're decent friends, and it'd be great to fuck her. I've had sex with Kendra and Lust, and she's fantastic. So
she
yeah,
is.
I would be down to fucking her.
I fantasize about having sex with Kendra. So I'm envious of you right now.
Oh, thanks.
So, jeez, what is like your favorite position? I mean, I know you love sex so much, and you're a self-proclaimed whore. So, but is there a position that you really enjoy more than anything?
Doggy.
Doggy. Okay.
Doggy's the best.
And where do you like guys finishing at? Do you care? Probably not.
Oh, no, I don't. I'm a cum slut. Come in me, like come in my pussy, come on my face, come on my boob, come in my ass, come in my mouth. Just
now,
get it on me.
When you did this gangbang, where did most of these guys finish up at?
It was a gangbang cream pie, so 7 guys cream pied me. Well, 9 guys. Well, I had 9 cream pies, and several of them had double orgasms. And then, like, 4 facials.
Okay. So when you're doing all this, like, you didn't even care that these random guys were just coming inside you?
No, it was so hot.
What does that feel like to have 9 guys inside you? I mean, it's got to feel weird inside.
It is kind of weird. But you know, like, part of that scene was that you push it out into like a martini glass, and so none of the cum was inside me after the end, and it will be in the martini glass, and then I just drank the martini glass.
Very awesome. Very awesome.
Yeah.
So, what goals do you still have, like, in the business? Like, what do you want to do long term, or are you just kind of just enjoying the ride right now?
You know, I'm really just enjoying the ride right now. It would be cool to win, like, an award, but I think that's everyone's mindset. So, maybe be in the industry for a few years.
Well, what do you
That's
think?
about it.
What do you think the biggest misconception is about being in the business? I mean, you seem like you're a free spirit and you kind of just do your own thing. But people that look down on it, what do you think? You know, what are people saying is bad about it? Where you're like, that's really not the case.
There's, like, 2 things that people have really, like misconstrued thoughts about the industry, and one of them is porn being unprofessional, and porn's, like, extremely professional. I used to work in Chick-fil-A, and the way my managers treated me are the way that my directors, my producers, my agents treat me. Everything's really professional now. Maybe it wasn't in the past, but they definitely, like, fixed how they, you know, go about things. And then another one is, like, people saying anyone in the industry doesn't respect themselves, you know, because you're having sex with so many people. That's not true. I didn't really respect myself or love myself as a person until I got into the industry. It taught me self-respect and self-confidence.
So now you're just doing your thing in porn, and let everybody know where they can find you at online for people that are trying to see more of your work. Like, do you have a website yet?
I am building a website. I have a domain that's attached to my blog, which is Callie Klein, XXX.com. And I have a Twitter called Callie Klein 143. And I have a Snapchat, which I never go on, but it's Miss Callie Klein.
Now, the webcamming stuff, have you stopped doing that now that you're doing porn, or is that something you still do occasionally?
I definitely stopped, and that was because my studio that I was a part of doesn't hire porn stars, so they had to let me go. But I am creating an account with Cam Soda, and I will be camming very, very soon.
So people can go on there, and it's like, when you were camming, what were some of the weirdest, like, requests that you would get? Like, what's something that you were like, wow, like, I can't believe somebody would request that?
I had a guy ask me to put, because I smoke, and he asked me to put my pipe in my butthole and try blowing smoke.
And did you succeed at it or no?
I have no idea.
Did you at least attempt it, or were you like, no?
I attempted it because he tipped me $200. So I did it, and then I threw the pipe away, and I didn't talk about it until now. This is the first time I'm talking about it.
Yes, that's what we're all about here on MMB Radio, getting the first news first. So, wow, so, I mean, there's a lot of money to be made in camming, right? Like, people are paying, like, up to $200 just to watch you stick something in your ass.
Yeah, there's good money in camming. It's fun, too, because you get to really be in control of what you do. So, but at the same time, you're up and close with your fans, and sometimes you can see negative stuff, like people don't like you, and you can't really escape it. Like, when you're doing porn, you just film it, and they don't release until months later. You don't have to deal with the backlash, really.
Now, what advice would you give somebody who is looking to get into porn?
I would say do your research first. Really know what you're going to get into. Porn is a lifelong thing. You may get out of it in a few months or something, but it's going to stick with you forever. So make sure you're positive that it's the decision you want to do.
So what upcoming projects do you have coming up that fans could be looking forward to?
Well, I'm having my first movie come out. It's called Kendra Fucks Couples from Archangel. I play a couple, so I recommend watching it. If you want to see me get eaten out, eat Kendra out, and masturbate. And then I have a scene coming out with Amateur Allure and a few other companies like Naughty America, and the rest is secret for now.
Now, do you consider yourself to be bisexual, or?
I consider myself like 65% lesbian, and then the rest get straight.
Okay, now
I like girls dating. I just don't like dating guys. I just want to fuck guys. They're my toys.
Now, what's the reasoning behind that? I mean, did you feel like relationships just never worked out with guys, or?
They never worked out with the guys. It always worked out better with the females because they understood like more of what I was feeling. So it just worked.
So, if a guy were to say, you know, I'm feeling you, and I don't want to be in a relationship with you, I mean, would you try it, or would you just let guys know, like, hey, like I'm just looking to fuck, and that's it?
Both. It depends on the guy. Like, I've had a few guys in the past where they're like, I like you. And I'm like, okay, well, we can do something about that. You can be my friends with benefit, and I might go on a few dates with you, but that's it. I haven't had a relationship with a guy, like a serious one, in over a year. And that's just because I was engaged, and, you know, I don't need that kind of commitment.
Now, so. Were you engaged? Was this Brandon that you were engaged to?
Hell no. Hell no.
This is before Brandon.
This was after Brandon. Brandon and I, we dated a year ago, and we had sex, but it was like one time, and so that was, like, I didn't really start having sex until May, so that's when I really considered having sex. But Alec is his name, and me and him, we dated right after Brandon. We never had sex. We never kissed. He was in the military, and so it was long distance. We got engaged. And, you know, it didn't work out because I wasn't in love with him anymore. So
how do you get engaged to someone and you've never kissed them, never had sex with them, like don't feel any kind of like emotional connection? I mean, this is all within a year, so it seems a little fast.
It was fast, and it was because we had known each other for so long, and we thought that we were going to be together forever. Just because someone doesn't have a physical connection doesn't mean that they have emotional. We had a really good emotional connection, actually. We talked every day for hours on end, and, you know, we had phone sex, so that was the way we kept each other happy sexually. But, you know, like, one day I woke up and I was like, I'm 17, because I wasn't 18 then. I'm 17 years old. I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. And, you know, I can't do it. So I broke up with him, and it just was one day I just realized I wasn't in love with him anymore.
Now, has Brandon or Kyle or any of these other guys, have they spoken to you since that you've gotten into porn?
Alec and Kyle know. I have no idea if Brandon knows. I think he knows, but I have his ass blocked so he can't contact me. I know lots of my other, like, hookups know about it because one day I was like, friends you may know, and I just started following people on Twitter, but I totally forgot that was my porn Twitter. So So I accidentally added myself out to all the guys I hooked up with, which was great. Because they were like, "Oh, dude, I fucked a porn star." I'm like, "No, you didn't. I wasn't a porn star then. You ain't that special."
So you just killed these guys, crushed their dreams of saying
I
that they
know.
fucked a porn star. Now
I know.
you were saying you were hooking up with these like different random guys like in 1 week, and you're hooking up with all these different guys. Like, do you still have random hookups with guys now, or is it kind of like has the sex like become more or less now that you've been doing porn?
I'd say it's stayed the same. I'm pretty insatiable. I have sex with myself more. Like, I'm more comfortable having sex with myself. So I don't necessarily need guys. Plus, I don't really like the way guys have sex that are like my age, because they don't really know what the fuck they're doing, and they come way too quickly. And I'm just like, you are supposed to get me off first. But they also are like immature, so I'll have sex with older men, and I'll hook up with older men, but they get clingier. So I haven't had sex with someone outside of porn for almost a month now.
Now, do guys go up to you, and how do you break the news to them right away? Like, I mean, if you're at a club or at a bar doing something, somewhere at a party, a function, and the guy goes to approach you and has no idea what you do you let him know right away, this is what I do?
No. If I intend on just hooking up with him, I'm not going to really tell him. I'll probably mention, I'll be like, just so you know, I do porn. So, yeah, cool. And then I'll give him a high five, and then I'll tell him to leave. But, if he's someone I'm interested in, because I'm interested in somebody right now, then I'll tell them. Like, I told him, I was like, so I do porn, and I thought you should know. And there's a problem with it, so I don't know how much longer this is going to last.
So this is a guy who's outside of the business that you were interested in, and you're, dating him right now?
I would say we're dating, yeah, but I wouldn't say we're in a relationship or anything. Okay. I don't know how he feels necessarily.
Now, how long were you, messing around with him before, you had sex with him, and then how long was it before you told him that you do porn?
That's the thing. We haven't had sex. So he started talking to me, and he started saying how he was really interested in me, and so I had to tell him that I did porn. So it was kind of awkward. I wasn't really ready to tell him. What?
Has that been a deal breaker right now? Is he kind of acting differently now?
Yeah, he's making it a deal breaker. He's just not comfortable. He's okay with me doing porn. He's just not comfortable with me having sex with other people. So, if I were to do just solo girl stuff, he'd be okay with it. He just doesn't want me having sex with dudes.
Okay. And obviously that's not going to change anything. That's not going to change your mind.
Hell no.
So
we're going to be dating. You got to be okay with me getting other cocks in my butt.
So that's a good way to put it. Now, so I'm assuming this is probably not going to last very much longer, is it?
Probably not, no.
And I guess he's kind of has to know that the ending is happening soon, right?
Yeah, okay. I think he does. I'm not really sure. He just knows that I've become more open about my job now. Before, when I first got into it, I was like, I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm just going to keep it lying low. But once people started finding out, I became a little bit more open. Now I'm really open about it, and I'll be like, yeah, so I fucked James Dean on set today, post to my Facebook. So I think he's realizing that he's not going to win this battle, and that he's going to be bye-bye in the dumpster real quick.
Now, ultimately, what does a guy have to do to win you over forever?
To, get my heart to swell?
What does a guy have to do? I mean, not to get you to quit, but where do you see yourself? Do you ever see yourself being in a relationship?
I have no idea. after Alec and I broke up, it's just kind of become, like, a little too painful to think about relationships. Like, I'll look in the future and I'll be like, yeah, I'd like to get married, but honestly, like, I'd rather get married to Alec, but I don't love him, really. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I'm ever going to have a relationship again. And, yeah, I'm so young and I've seen a lot, but before, I've always been really anti-relationship because I grew up in a family where everyone's had divorces and affairs. And so I've always thought, like, true love is kind of like a fable. Like, you'll fall in love and you get married, but are you destined? No. So I don't think I'm going to have a relationship again.
And you're okay with this?
Oh, I'm totally okay with it. I'm okay with just having random sex with guys on the weekend and then coming home to my cat.
Well, it sucks that I'm not in Arizona or anywhere that you are because that seems like a guy's perfect dream to be able to, have sex with no commitment, no strings attached.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess, those guys that would love to have that are probably just, I don't know. I guess it's just luck of the draw there that they're not near you to have that happen.
I know. Sometimes it really sucks for all these guys.
Now, do most of these guys get emotionally attached afterwards, or is it just...
Yes, it's disgusting.
So guys, you haven't found that one guy yet that you can just fuck and just be like, damn, I want to keep fucking him, and he really doesn't even care that that's all we're doing.
I've had 2 guys like that.
Okay.
And out of all the guys I've been with, and I've sucked over like 200 dicks. So that's saying something. I don't know why they get attached because I'm not really friendly to these boys. So
now you
guess they just like a girl being a bitch to them.
You sucked over 200 dicks. Now, was this when you were in school, or?
I've been sucking dicks since I was 13. So, I've been during school, out of school, at work, not at work, at my house, their house, the street, behind a dump, anywhere you can think of, I sucked a dick.
Now, like, how did you get your dick sucked? Like with 200 dicks, I mean, geez, that's a lot of guys. Like, how does that
I'm really
happen?
just like, I was about 16 years old, and I was hanging out with a bunch of my friends, and I hung out with a lot of the scene gothic kids. I guess I'm kind of like that. I just don't act it or look it. So I hung out with all these people, and they're like, yo, you should just go up to a random guy and suck his dick. And then I was like, okay. So I did it, and I sucked his dick. And I came back, and they're like, that was fast. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, all right, well, why don't you suck 20, and we'll give you $100. I'm like, okay. And I did it, and the next thing I know, it just became a game with my friends to do it.
You were, like, sucking just random dudes' dicks, or? Like, how, I mean, they're giving you money for it, so, like, how did they know that you actually did it?
They watched.
Oh, they watched, okay. It's kind of creepy in its own way.
Yeah, kind of creepy. I mean, I think they were just interested in the fact that they were all lesbians, and so the idea of sucking dick was unheard of to them.
Well, you seem like you have a very interesting story, and you seem like you are doing a lot of big things, and you're destined to do a lot more, and hopefully that 200 becomes 400, and then 600 and 800 before no time at all. What do you want fans to know before you get out of here?
I just want fans to know that there's going to be a lot more of me, and I can't wait to show you. And don't be afraid to message me on Twitter and ask me to follow you or any of that, because I love interacting with my fans.
I sent her messages. I'm always sliding in her DMs. So, and she's always nice about it, so she doesn't kick me right out. So definitely hit her up, follow her on online, and check out her new scenes. And we hope to hear and see a lot of new things coming from you real soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Not a problem. You have a good one.
Hi, I'm Callie Klein, and you're listening to Mix Masta on MMB Radio.